The cave was still trembling. A deep vibration ran through the stones, down into the ground. Dust and small fragments trickled down from above. The air was strange, sometimes hot like smoke, then suddenly so cold that breath turned into mist. Victor stood frozen, his heart pounding fast. What was that? Echoed in his mind. Something inside him had just broken and awakened. Something beyond his understanding. Victor turned slowly. In front of him stood his own shadow. It was deeper, merged with darkness. The same body, the same stance, but with a glow in its eyes. Shadow Victor smiled. He said, "You are still weak." The silence of the cave and that voice shook Victor to his core. The shadow spoke in Victor's own voice, his words cut like a blade. When your parents were dying, you hid below. You didn't try to save them. You only cried in fear. Victor's eyes filled with tears. He gripped the chain tightly and shouted, "I was just a child. I couldn't do anything." But the shadow laughed. Excuses. Weak people always look for reasons. Memories of fire and blood returned, and with them, the voices of his parents. Victor held his head, his mother's tears, his father's roar, blood dripping on the trapdoor. Everything came back. The shadow stepped closer. The light in you died that night. What remains is me, only darkness. Then his mother's voice echoed, "Son, you will become strong." His father's voice thundered, "Stay alive, Victor." Black flames burst from Victor's hands. They wrapped around the chain. The shadow laughed. "See, you will become a demon too." Victor's heart pounded. He was afraid, but he clenched his fist. The flame sank into his palm. It coiled tightly around the chain. Victor's eyes shone bright. He said, "This power is not of demons. It's mine, my core." The shadow stepped back for the first time. Suddenly, a vision burst open before Victor's eyes. He saw a distant kingdom. Shadows with red eyes were running through the streets. People were screaming, chaos everywhere. In the center stood Lyra. Her light spear was shining bright. With every strike, the darkness pulled back. Golden light formed her shield. Then came the view of the mountains. Kyle stood upon the rocks. His flame gauntlets blazed alive. The ground shook with each strike. Flames swirled through the air. Next, the forest appeared. Orvan stood firm. His root halberd glowed with green energy. Vines and roots burst from the ground. Then a ruined city echoed. Silence broke. Sounds filled the air. Sonara held her resonance blades. Each strike made the wind tremble. And then, a broken altar. Darkness was leaking from its shards. In front of it stood a faceless shadow. Its cold laughter echoed through the vision. Victor gasped. He whispered, "What is all this?" The vision shattered. Victor was back inside the cave. His heart was racing fast. The shadow mocked him. "This power will destroy you." It lunged toward Victor. Its hand reached for his core. Victor swung his chain, but the shadow caught it. And in that moment, black aura exploded like a storm. The walls trembled. Shadow Victor turned into smoke and merged directly into Victor's core. In the darkness, the cave shook violently. A scream burst from Victor's chest. The black aura still floated in the air. The cave stones had turned dark from smoke. Victor lay on the ground, breath broken and shallow. A faint black glow pulsed from his chest, the very place where the shadow had entered him. With trembling lips, he whispered, "It went inside me." The air of the cave now felt alive. Victor tried to stand, but his body no longer felt like his own. With every breath, black smoke escaped him. His eyes flickered, white and black light intertwining. Suddenly, a voice echoed from within. "Now we are one." Victor shivered and said, "No, I won't become that." On the walls ignited. The altar's core began to tremble with a dim vibration. Victor watched. Dark waves were being absorbed into the altar. He lifted his chain. Dark aura danced across its links. The chain looked different now, as if it were breathing. "This is my power now," Victor whispered. The ground shook suddenly. The cave wall cracked apart. An opening tore outward. Cold wind rushed in, carrying with it the scent of ashes. Victor peeked outside. Red clouds were swirling in the sky, as if a force was descending from above. Softly he murmured, "Something has changed." Silence reigned, but in the air, red sparks danced. They fell to the ground and sank into the soil. With every fall, black mist rose, forming small shadows. Victor said fearfully, "This is that same aura." The shadow was now inside him. Stepped outside. The forest air was heavy, thick with the scent of burning. Trees had turned to ash. He looked at his palm. Black marks shimmered faintly. "What have I become?" His voice trembled, but in his eyes now there was no fear, only questions. Down on the ground, ash swirled around him. He touched his chest. The warmth was still there. "It went inside me," he whispered. Suddenly, 5 visions flashed before him. Lyra, Kyle, Orvin, Sonara, and that shattered altar. What was all this? Who were they? He took a deep breath and said, "I need answers. Just a small request. If you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to check out the playlist to follow the full story."